Hi, I'm Dexter Valles of Valma International. I want to ask you something about your regular life and if you've noticed whether there's any connection with life as you experience it. So life on the road in particular and life as you experience it. Because I've had this very funny connection between the traffic on the road and my life. Now when I try to negotiate my way out of my home and the bylane I live in, and take my car into the mainstream traffic, I often find that even if I have sensed or can see that there is hardly any traffic before I reach it, by the time I reach the junction, there seems to be a whole lot of traffic that don't seem to want to let me through. And it's really difficult to get into that traffic with a great fear of getting hit by motorists who seem hell-bent on getting their own way through and not making way for me. So it's always with my heart in my mouth that I steer my car into that traffic and pray and keep my fingers crossed that nobody hits me. And when I think of it, I wonder whether life also follows that pattern. The moment I try to present myself or present my case or my competences, my skills, my abilities, does it seem to attract a lot of other people on that road? And in life and in business perhaps, we call it competition. So when I try and present myself as somebody who can get something done in a special way, do I also find that there are a whole lot of other people presenting themselves and not allowing me to get my way through, not allowing me to establish my brand visibility, to influence the people who would obviously want to hire me. And maybe it's the same with you. And I do find that this eerie similarity between how you negotiate traffic on the road and how you negotiate traffic in life. Let me talk about a few points and see how we can progress this conversation. So as I edge onto the road, I'm filled with a little fear and some amount of dread that I will be hit. So there's a nervousness and a hesitancy about the way I get onto the road. That of course disappears once I'm in the main traffic. But it's always at that point of nervousness and hesitancy that I fear others may not realize what I'm trying to do, and since I'm not giving the right signals, could perhaps proceed with their own way of going forward, and then suddenly I surge onto the road in front of them, and that could be pretty bad. So how do I allow myself to have a clear path towards the goals I want to get to? I've got to do everything in my capacity to allow people to know what I'm trying to do. One is I have to have a certain level of confidence in myself and what I can do. And now I know that's a little difficult when, let's say, you're new to the job, new to the business, new to making your qualifications work. While you may be a veteran in life, let's say you've learned something new and you're trying to present yourself with that. And you're not really sure whether you're going to succeed as well as you have succeeded. So there is a past history of having been a success and a certain fear and dread and a hesitancy therefore of how you're going to use this new skill. So there has to be some level of confidence which you need to present yourself with. You've got to take a bold step forward and warn people you're coming. Which means in traffic, you've got to probably unfortunately blare your horn. And in the roads of Mumbai where we seem to have chaos all the time, I find that rolling down my window and putting my hand at full stretch up to tell people to stop, at least if I can stop a couple of cars who are closer to me, the chances are that I'll be able to use that avenue that opens and move through. What does that mean in real life? It means that somewhere in life, when I'm presenting myself, I need to signal what I'm trying to do. Maybe if I'm sending a proposal, before I actually send the full proposal, which may or may not hit the eye of the person who needs to be influenced, I need to probably send some teasers along the way. I need to send something before that. I need to present myself in small doses, which means maybe my profile has to go through, maybe in that profile I have to say something significant about the proposal that I'm going to do. May not be in specific, but why I am confident and I am competent to be there and do that. If it's going to get lost in that, then I have to even reduce the doses. Just like getting into traffic, I cannot perhaps smoothly enter into the traffic, although I'd love to. Perhaps I have to inch forward, but definitely forward surely, so that people understand that I am coming through. So when you are presenting yourself and your skill, maybe you need to pre-present yourself in some way where when you actually present yourself and your skill, your qualification, your proposal, people have been set up to receive you. Now that you are through and you're in the traffic on the road, you've got to sense which is the best lane to be in. You've got to have a sixth sense about what's happening on the road. You've got to be able to read into the traffic and understand how you need to manage yourself in that traffic and where would it be most comfortable, safe, and where you can competently exercise your driving skill to be able to take you forward, where of course confidence will build along the way. So in life, perhaps when you take your skill forward, you are looking for being able to negotiate your way by warning people that you're coming, perhaps make a few friends along the way, make a few allies, by thanking people, like when you turn and somebody's waited for you, you give them a thumbs up or say something like that, and automatically such gestures of courtesy win you those friends who give you a little more room to be able to maneuver your vehicle onto the road and manage safely. They probably also become allies if you have a problem along the way and they see that you have a problem, because suddenly there is this invisible connection that has been established. Can you do that in life? Can you look at for who can be your allies on the way? You may find allies in unlikely places. You may find an ally in a competitor, because as long as your intentions are clear and you honor and respect other people on the road and give them the right to be there, you will be able to actually garner support along the way from people who would otherwise be in the way. So think about what you are doing at the moment. Are you on the road already? Have you won a few friends? Are you managing some sort of collaboration, cooperation along the way? Who are the people who could probably assist you along the way? The journey is not one of being alone on the road. You are always going to have people on the road. It's better to make friends early rather than later. Let's say that you're now on the road in traffic and you're in flow, and there are people who are going to cut across you, people who want to make awkward turns in front of you, people who excuse themselves but don't allow you the way. They turn in front of you, they probably say something like that to you, thank you, but they've cut in front of you and you suddenly had to brake. So there are all sorts of characters on the road. There are all kinds of vehicles and people having all kinds of understandings of how they should manage their rules. Not because those are the rules to be followed, but these are the rules that they have been operating on, and probably unknown to you, there is another code on the road that you're on that you don't know of. So besides the rules of the game, it's good to understand what is the code on the road. The code on the road that you're on sometimes needs to be picked up by observing rather than rushing into things. See if there is a certain lane that is kept unannounced and not part of the rule book, where only certain kind of traffic goes. Like on our roads, you'll find on the left the cycles, the scooters, the motorcycles, and the auto rickshaws tend to hog the road on the left, or at least that's where they think they should be. Besides, of course, veering into your lane all the time. It's very difficult, and I know this from experience. If you take your car into that road, into that lane, and you will find a whole lot of people being upset with you because the unwritten code of that road is that the car should not come there. The other is, what if you are in a lane which is supposed to be at high speed? Which means, are you in a lane where you have a whole lot of experts? Are you in a lane where there are people who are so skilled at their job that even though you may aspire to be with that group, you probably will end up slowing them down? So what if you want to be in the fast lane of life? What do you need to do to pick up your competence to be there? To pick up your speed, to pick up your expertise, to be a valuable member of the team in that lane? to be able to win the right to be there. So ask yourself, besides everything that you have been qualified at, do you need to certify in certain areas? Do you need to pick up additional skills and certificates and qualifications? So while I am an MBA in marketing, and I initially launched my life in international marketing, and I had to pick up a lot of things along the way because that is not what I was taught to do. I then veered into the area of human resources as a human resource behavioral consultant, which is really far away from what I learned to do. But in this area, I had to pick up certain qualifications and certifications, and I've picked them up in terms of targeted and focused certifications that will allow me to be in the fast lane. But I do know when to get out of the lane. So I'm in the lane when you talk about emotional intelligence, when you talk about assessments, and particularly, let's say, behavioral assessments like the Enneagram. But I do know that I need to get out of the lane if we are talking about other things, if we are talking about the other aspects of human resources, because I'm not familiar and not qualified there, although I may understand a lot, but more perhaps as an observer and not as a practitioner. So I can be in the fast lane if I'm a practitioner and I'm certified to be there, even if I've not had enough experience, but I can pick that up along the way by being in the mid lane first and then joining that lane. Are you in a place where you are picking up expertise? Are you picking up qualifications? Do you have the right to be able to join the fast lane? When are you going to join that fast lane? And what will it take for you to be a member of that group on that lane? Of course, the mainstream of traffic will always have place for you, because that's where they are neither fast nor slow, and they're usually muddling their way through the traffic of the road or traffic of life. And most of us are in that area. So if you look at the general lay of life, you would probably find that you need to cut into those special lanes that are reserved for other people, the code of the road, which is unwritten at certain times, but you can't live there. You can't travel there. You got to travel in a lane that you have the right and authority to. And there is always the mid lane of muddling through traffic and managing the traffic signals, the chaos, the slow speeds, the braking and accelerating, which is generally the kind of detail of life. When you have the highs of life, the hurrahs of life, where you achieve something, you got to somehow center yourself again and get back into the mainstream of life, where you get things going over there, anchor it, perhaps create documentation, perhaps train others, get others along the way, manage with the different speeds of members of your team, work together to get there, but always keep an eye on the fast lane of life so that you know when you can get there, especially if you have the qualification to go there. Well, think about what could be the rules that you could follow as you enter the traffic of life. Number one is, with your skills, no matter how new they are, you need to get out there on the road and put them to work. So with a certain level of confidence in what you can do, announce what you're going to do so that others don't hit you along the way. Number two, pick up friends along the way. See if you can pick up allies so that it can get you there. Number three, look out for the safe lanes. Look out for where you are expected to be in. Look out for the code of the road where others think they should be and think you should not be. See what the road is telling you. See what cues you get from the road, because the road is in flow and all the truths of life lie on the road waiting for you to discover them, pick them up and apply them. Ask yourself, if you want to join a specific lane of life, especially the high-speed lanes of life, do you have the qualifications to get there? Are you going to be a deterrent to other people when you get there because you're not competent or not qualified or not supposed to be there? How do you allow yourself to win the right to be there? What do you need to do to skill yourself, upgrade yourself, make yourself competent and qualify yourself besides everything that you're doing to be able to get into the high-speed lanes of life, right? And once you're there, how do you manage that speed and keep that speed up? Because once you think you are competent and you've done it, the chances are that you may take your eye off the road, you may take your eyes off the traffic, and you could meet with an accident, which means in your career, in your life, you may bungle up something that you were not supposed to bungle up. maybe, and that one disappointment can throw you right off the road. Not only just off that high-speed road, but off the road itself. Number 4 is look out for where the mainstream is and understand that you can't live your life only in the high-speed lanes, that you have to join the mainstream at times. What is the mainstream doing? The mainstream is full of traffic and chaos. The mainstream is full of people who are at different speeds, trying to figure out their lives too. You would probably find that if you're a team leader or a member of a team, find that managing to move ahead with your team members at their different skill levels, at their different abilities to get things done, at the level of competition that is growing, the impediments that come, the policies and the hurdles, that's the mainstream. Be prepared to live there for a large part of your life, keeping an eye on the high-speed lane so that you know when you can exit and go and champion yourself over there. But ultimately, you may need to come back to the mainstream and join that, because mainstreaming of life is where you actually anchor yourself. It's where you give yourself the greatest chance to learn. You can't learn in the high speed of life. That's where you need to exhibit your expertise. You can learn in the mainstream because the mainstream is safe enough for you to manage learning and momentum. So with this in mind, ask yourself whether you can bring this to your life and see whether you have success with it. The next time we meet, or if you can put your comments on this video, tell us a little bit more about your experiences in this area. We'd really love to learn more about you. And if you get a chance to visit us when you're in Mumbai, please do drop in. Keep in touch with us. Our website is www.valmarinternational.com. That's VALMAR international.com. My name is Dexter Valles. I am the managing consultant of Valma International. It's nice chatting with you. Catch you around the next time. Bye for now.